Trying this again. Just making sure this is working. Okay, we're trying this again. Just making sure this is working. Okay, we're trying this again. Just making sure this is working. Okay. So sorry about the issue there, guys. I think there's still a little bit of a delay, but at least it's working now. I think there's still a little bit of a delay, but okay, yeah, that seems more normal. Thanks, Tony D. That helps a lot. Yeah, I don't know what's up with YouTube servers right now, but that's kind of annoying. But yeah, I wouldn't have known what to do. There was about maybe a minute delay on their regular server, so thanks for helping me out there. Okay, so things are not looking amazing for me right now. As you can see, my drawdown is at, what is it at right now, percent-wise? At just over 2.5%. I'm at 2.64%, which is still fine. Nothing too crazy yet. As you guys know, I have a cutoff percentage of 7%. Now, I'm going to follow up or reiterate what Tony D mentioned about the euro, US dollar, or the USD in general at the end of his stream, that there's not really a reason yet for the USD to gain any strength. It's losing pretty horribly on pretty much all the every pair that it's on, and in considering some of the other pairs, like for example the Australian US dollar, it's losing really bad. So considering what it's doing on other pairs, I feel grateful that it's not killing me harder on the euro US dollar right now. So I have three placed orders on the euro US dollar, and my next pending order is placed right at 1.12125. I started widening my grid. My fourth pending order was placed at right about here, right at this peak. But I decided to take it out. With the news coming soon, I wanted to widen my grid, or the space between my trades, so I can so I could survive a little bit longer. In particular, if I do decide to hold my trades over the NFP. So I'm also on in a trade on the odd Japanese yen. I placed this one in the room back a while ago, about 2 hours ago, and so far this trade hasn't really moved much since my entry. And what I'm looking at on this trade was the push down was about 480 pips, which is good for my entry. The new low was placed here, and I'm looking at these swing levels were all broken, minor one here, and then this new low was placed. Then I saw this Harami candle here, a really good bullish Harami candle, and then I'm looking for 30 pips with my take profit there. So pretty small trade. You can see where my second pending order is here. I used just support resistance to find that level. I found I wanted my spacing to be anywhere from 80 to 120 pips from my original entry, and I placed it my second order near this support level, or support resistance level. As I said before, it's a support level here, but it can be resistance level later on in price. So that same level is right here on the 1 hour. So it's about 100, just over 100 pips from my entry, for my first entry. Okay, so I'm just looking for 30 pips on that position. Now, the things that I like about this trade are, one, the odd USD. The Australian dollar had a lowering of interest rates, and it was a bit of surprise because well, most people thought that this would go down, and it went down about 40 pips and then jumped straight back up and now has made new highs. So a bit of a shocker there on this pair. And considering this move, yeah, it could have some pullback, but I think that it's considering that move, I think that it's going to pull back in a minor way and then jump even further up, which gives me some positive thinking regarding my position here. Now, the yen has been really strong, as everybody knows. It had that huge push up and then back down on the USD Japanese yen, and this push down has recently slowed a little bit in this area, but today it's continuing to go down. That's not helping my position on the Japanese yen too much, the odd Japanese yen, as long as the yen is strong. So I need the yen to weaken a little bit. I need the odd to stay strong like it is now, and it's really killing the USD as at the moment. So I am going to keep this position on the Euro US dollar. Now, some people may think I'm crazy because I don't think that there's any indication that this is going to be following yet. I had Harami candles here and here, and those were my two original entries. And that's why I took this trade. And you can see that there were minor retracements or pullbacks in these areas, just not big enough. There's too much pressure on the US dollar, selling pressure on the US dollar right now because of the FOMC last week. And there hasn't been a lot of news. Now, I re-entered up here on my third position, hoping for, with the lighter news this week, not a lot until no farm payroll, that I was hoping for a bit of a pushback or retracement and then hit my take profit. So just a little bit because of the lack of news, that's what I was pushing for, and I just didn't get enough of it. Not a good enough reason, apparently, for this to go down or to retrace in a bigger way. So what's going to happen here is this is not pushing up in a huge way, not yet, compared to other pairs. And I would guess is because the people are holding on to their positions to see what happens later on with the NFP. So I'm going to be watching this pair very closely. I'm going to be looking at the news at the ADP on Wednesday. Now, the ADP is not something that's probably going to, move waters, on when it comes out. I'm looking at the forecast in the previous, and it's not a huge change. Although this can be shockers, I do think that because the expectation is really close to the previous, I don't think that this is going to be a huge drastic change. Now, I easily could be wrong. If this is a big change and it's hugely negative, then it could move the price, at least the Euro US dollar on my pair, up, which is obviously bad for me. And if it's hugely negative, I may consider pulling my trades soon after that ADP comes out if it's against me. I've told you that I usually go pull my trades at a 7% loss. Now I'm subjected to change that, and I've always been open to closing my trades before 7% if I feel it's a good idea to do that. If the ADP is negative, then I don't really want to take my chances, or I may not want to take my chances and hold on to this Euro US dollar basket through the no farm payroll. Because what could happen is I could hit my, as you know, whipsaws can happen up and down, or vice versa, down and then up. I could hit my 7% loss easily if this climbed up 100 to 150 pips, and then right when I hit my stop loss, it pulls down, and I would have hit profit. That's an unfortunate scenario, but that could easily happen, and I'm not really sure if I want to take that risk. If the price was like it is now, 5 minutes before no farm payroll, would you close or hold? Um, it's hard to say. I'm at 2.5%. I would probably close. It's if I was at a like a 4% loss or maybe a 5% loss, I would consider holding on. But since it's only 2.6 or 2.5, it would make more sense for me to close it because I can make the 2.5% back in a couple weeks. So yeah, it would hurt my progress that I'm making on my account by closing out those positions. But it's not a huge loss, and that can be made back easily for me in 2 weeks, likely max, considering if trades go well for me after closing. So there's a couple of things that I saw. So Harami, I mentioned those already, and that's where I was entering my positions. Then another one, new high, new Harami candle, the price is still going up. Now, typically, if there wasn't so much pressure in the news coming out this week, that I would see some pullback here. This has been slowly creeping up. This candle, this 4-hour candle, and but I've been watching it pretty carefully and seeing that there is some resistance here. Some people, I feel like some people are trying to hold on to their sell positions as long as they can here. Now I would expect some pullback potentially throughout the day and maybe through the night before the ADP comes out. But I don't think it's going to be a lot. I think that ADP needs to be strongly positive, and then that could potentially give the Euro US dollar a little momentum before the NFP comes out. Okay. So you guys know how I approach the market. I'm basically telling you how I approach the market in my way. What I'm looking for, how I'm seeing the prices, the hints I'm getting of if I should stay in this basket or not, um, based on some of the general fundamental analysis and my the way I do my technical analysis as well. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly look. I haven't really looked through the other pairs yet, and the reason why is because obviously I'm in two trades, or three technically. I am on the U.S. dollar Swiss franc. I just have one pair. You can see my entry here. I saw the Harami candle after the big push down, and was hoping for a bit of a push up. That didn't happen. I got really close. I think I was about 10 pips away or so to hitting my target. Then it started going back down. My second entry is placed down here at the next support resistance level, and that is about 95 pips. I widened the grid from the first order to the second order on this pair because this is a negative correlation to the the euro US dollar. So I don't want to be in too deep on both pairs. So that's why I'm not entering a second position closer to like this support level or something. So I'm trying to be careful there. Now my current trade, the odd Japanese yen is still staggering. I do really like the look of this trade though. Good push down. Um, it's been following price really well according to my strategy. Harami candle there, easily 30 pips. And there was one here, good 30 pips. One here, easy 30 pips down. One here, easy 30 pips down. One here. Although that didn't make a new high, it still moved down. So it's been following my trading style for a while. One here. And every single time on this whole pattern down, it's been following this candle. So because it's been doing that in the recent history, it's been doing its nice little staircase down type of thing. And it's been obeying my rules on these kickbacks. Then I think that my chances of this hitting my take profit level are pretty good. Every trader can be wrong, but I'm feeling pretty positive about this position. And this position was taken to all my new subscribers that joined through the free trial. That's still being, I think it's still being promoted here in the chat room. Yeah. And I'll put a link at the end of the video so you guys can take advantage of that. It's good till August 14th, so make sure that you join before then if you want to check out my trading style. Okay, let me check YouTube to see if there's any questions. Whoa, a lot of questions coming in on YouTube. Hey Diego, good to see you on YouTube. I'm not sure what you're referring to on the Japanese yen. I don't think that it could go. I mean, it can go down. Yeah, it can go against my position, but I'm buying. I'm not sure if you were aware of that. I actually think that what I have here is a decent opportunity, and I think I just explained that for 30 pips at least. Excuse me. For those who have not entered in on the Euro US dollar, what do you advise? What do you mean? Like, I think that a lot of people are still short. At least retail traders are still short on the Euro US dollar, holding on to it. As you can see, I'm doing the same thing. I suggest that you wait till no farm payroll to come out, or at least see the numbers of the ADP. To see how if they are drastically negative or positive. Could give you some hints into what's going to happen on Friday. I'm not trading on Demo David. I am waiting for my trades to close on this account. For all my trades to close out. And once all my trades close out, I'll be trading officially on my live account, which is here. You can see here, this is my live account. Look at the top. If my words aren't blocking that, I'm going to remove that text so you can see. Okay, let me delete that. Okay, there we go. So now you can see a little bit better at the top that this is a live account at Oanda. Currently at $255 drawdown. and I have a $9,697 account. Okay, so yeah, no problem, David. So I'm going to go through the other pairs real quickly, and we're going to talk about what trades are happening. You're going to follow my mental process of deciphering if there's a trade or not, and if I would take it. So let's just go down the line. I don't see anything on the U.S. dollar Japanese yen. I see a downtrend. I see a little bit of weakening in this area after the new week, but then a break back down. I'm hoping that this will show some signs of weakness, so my Japanese yen trade will hit profit. And also, if this helps, if this shows some weakness as well, the yen, I mean, then that could help the dollar gain some value as well. Uh, that hasn't happened. I don't see any positions on the 4-hour. Let's check the 1-hour. I don't see any potential trades there either. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm doing, I'm looking for I'm looking at the candlestick patterns. I'm looking at the trends. I'm looking to counter the trends, and I'm looking for hints that the price action gives me. And I also look at levels. So I'm going to move quickly through these pairs. Okay, I see a trade here on the Euro Australian dollar. Now this made, I zoomed out a little bit so you can see. I'm just looking from the bottom and the top, 427 pips. That's a really good push from the bottom and the top. That a lot of people would consider a new trend, moving back up. Now, if you're looking at the trend, doesn't look very good. I mean, this is the bottom, and then it started doing this, and then that level was broken. So this was broken here. But then some news came out from the, I think that's in the FOMC statement, that caused this whole price action area in here to be just demolished. And then that trend back up continued. So this whole area, this hasn't looked very pretty, but if I'm looking at a trend, I'm looking at the new highs that it's making. Okay. I'm not concentrating too much on these lows because they're kind of a mess. So the new high made there, Harami candle. Yes, we had an 80 pip jump back up against our trade. And if I was trading this, since I have trades already in, I'm not going to overextend. Let's see if I would have entered there. So let's say I'm going to mark where my entry was, and then I'm going to mark where my second entry would have been. I would have set it at, my second entry would have been 70 pips above on this pair. We'll just make sure. 70 pips is a little bit close. I wouldn't have done 150, that's too wide. I would have done the 75. So there we go. I would have been out of this trade. So my entry would have been here. My second entry would have been placed at 75 pips, and you see that it went about 80. Then I would have taken my profit at about this level. So more profit from the top trade, and smaller loss from the bottom trade, and I'd come out with an overall positive pip amount. Again, I wasn't in this trade. I think I was even sleeping at the time too, that this trade was available. So I wouldn't have been taking that position. But I would have been taking it no matter what, because I am in on 2 pairs and I'm already in 2% drawdown. I want to give my account breathing room. I'm in 2.5% drawdown. That's not a ton, but I anticipate what's coming, and that's the no farm payroll. And if I'm going to hold through that mess, then I understand that I need some margin and some room, just in case there is a big bounce in one direction and then a correction. So I'm not going to likely take any more positions besides the ones I am in now, unless they're on an off pair, like the odd Japanese yen. But I won't be taking any USD trades other than the ones I'm in now. Okay. So the odd USD, I mentioned about this already. And how this is pushed up even with the interest rates being lowered. Huge climb. Now I would be looking for trades after this level was broken, and it was. So I'd be looking for a Harami candle or an engulfing or some kind of reversal candle pattern to indicate a potential move back down after that big push. And right now, a Harami, small Harami, is forming, but we still have 55 minutes of the hour. It's pretty obvious that this has been an uptrend since, if you're looking at the bottom here. Well, it fluctuated. So we're looking at this, and I'm looking at these levels, the lows. Whoops. And here, so the higher lows, showing us that this is moving up, and you're also looking at these higher highs as well. So that's how I, decide for a trend, is just by looking at those levels, and I see that this is happening. Would be looking to sell the odd USD. For those that trade this kind of way, or since I talk about it quite a bit, you could look for a Harami candle on the odd USD if it closes like that, and then enter your position. So this heading down is not going to be great. If it does come down, it's not going to be amazing for my trade here, especially if the odd is pulling back a bit. So we'll just wait and see what happens. Okay, so the USD, euro, coming back to the euro US dollar, it's still climbing. It's very subtle. It's not massive, but it's a slow bleed right now. All right, coming back to the questions. The pound US dollar, yeah, I will talk about that in a second. Ryan, what exit strategy do you use? Exit strategy is a 7% cutoff, but I've mentioned before that I may cut off before that. 7% is my hard cutoff. So if it reaches that level, I cut trades instantly, and then look for new opportunities. But I will sometimes cut trades earlier than that if I see that it's going against me and the chances of me getting out are not great. Right now, I'm seeing that my chances are not amazing in this situation here, considering the news. I need a little bit of love on the ADP to help me out on slowing this slow push up. But I'm going to wait it out and see what happens with that news statement, and then make another call on if I want to hold on to these trades or not. Okay. So let's move on to the other pairs. I'll hit the pound US dollar since somebody mentioned that already. First. Okay. This has been in a sort of a range type of situation. It's been really volatile compared to the prior history, and so it does look like it's been flat, but it's just considering how many pips after the Brexit. So if we zoom back in, it still looks like kind of a mess to me. I mean, if you're looking at the levels, you're looking at the low and the high here, but you see tiny little high swing highs and lows that don't really indicate any type of trend going on here. You see this level here was broken there. This level here was broken there and made a new low, and then this one actually held. This support level didn't break, but it's like in this ranging type of deal going on. Not great for trading in any way or form, I don't think, unless you're some kind of range trader. But if you look at, I mean, if you look at the Harami candles, I mean, you can see that there was one there. There's one here, and one here. I mean, that's just such a tight range. I don't usually trade. I don't trade like that. I would have potentially been looking at, the only one I would have been looking at is probably this trade here because of the big push up. And that was pretty substantial, I think. From the bottom to the top. Yeah, it was 500 pips. So I'd be looking at that, taking that position. I'd also be looking at taking this one. I think I did take at least one of these back a while ago. But currently, looking at the low, small high, higher low, new high, and then a new high. So if you're looking at this, you could do like a trend line type of situation there. So if I'm looking at this level, and I'm looking at this candle. If this candle closes above that level, I would expect more movement up. And let's see how many pips it is from here to the top, 150. And I'd be looking for some kind of, since this level is broken, I'd be looking for some kind of Harami or reversal candle for pushback down, and just getting a few pips, 20 to 30 pips. So yeah, that's my outlook on the pound, U.S. dollar. So, as I was mentioning before, my odd Japanese yen pair is not looking amazing because of this pushback here, showing some pullback on the odd right now. I mean, I'm still not too worried. I'm not worried about this trade. I mean, I still have a lot of space from order 1 to order 2. I still have margin left. It's not necessarily correlated to my positions on the Euro US dollar. So I feel like I'm pretty decent on that. Yeah, that's one of my concerns with Josh, if this is what you're talking about. I have my order 1 here and order 2, 3, but the biggest problem, the biggest issue for me now is order 1 to order 2 is 67 pips, and order 2 to order 3 is 28 pips. Now that's a pretty big difference. Order 2 to 3 is a little tight. I mentioned this before, that it was a risk that I was willing to take in this area. Now I had a little bit of a pullback, but it wasn't enough for me to take my profit. I was about 22 pips away from hitting that level. Now, because I'm in this, these two trades are pretty close together. That means that if the farther that this goes against me, the more these two trades are going to hurt me because they're so close together. So that's why I've done what I've done. Instead of continuing to make my spacing small, considering the news coming out, I have widened my grid back to its, or not grid, but my spacing back to what I feel is better, about 60 pips in this case. So yeah, this is going to hurt a little bit. It means that if this order gets placed, I'm gonna have to get more pips down in order for me to pull out of this trade. Yeah, depending on the yeah, Josh, I'm trying to hold out, but like I said, the slow bleed before the news could give me some potential problems. Now, I'm still in. I think I'm about a 3% drawdown now, 2.88. The farther this goes against me, the more I would consider closing it out. Now, like I said before, if it gets to like a 4% or 5%, then I may just hold it out and see what happens, and then just close out for a 7% loss. If this does pull back a little bit, which I'm hoping for in the course of the day, I would expect for this to not wear too much off, this move up, until about 12 or 1 p.m. to Eastern Standard Time today. I see what happens. This is what happens. I've been watching this a lot since I trade the New York session a lot. When there is a push, like an early morning push during the New York session, that push usually will taper off at about 12 or 1 p.m. That's the time where the volatility starts going down, and the market starts tapering off. And so a lot of people will close out for profit, and then the pair or whatever pair you're trading will taper off on that big push that was happening. So I expect that this push will only last another couple hours, if that, and then could wear down. Now it could push higher up another. Is that 20 pips before my orders entered? 15, 16 pips. Or more before the day before the big push is over, and then things start wearing down. We'll just have to wait and see how volatile that gets. I'm short too heavy Euro US dollar, so I'm with you on holding and rooting for the forex gods to help with the Euro sell-off. Josh, you're not the only one. If you go to I know that I've heard it from multiple people in the chat. If you look at forexfactory.com, I mean, these are not all the retail traders, obviously, but you can see that the Euro US dollar, the 60% of people are holding shorts there. And I think on other websites it's similar. There's a lot of people that are holding shorts on the Euro US dollar, and it just keeps going up. And we just need a reason for it to stop, really. We need something negative to come out in the Europe. Some news, something fundamental, in order to help this push slow, or for the news this week and the US dollar to be positive in some way. So I'm going to cover a couple more pairs before I sign off. I think I'm going to sign off here in about 13 minutes or so. And then I'll take a couple extra questions before that. Okay. Darwin, I will be changing that. Why will anybody buy your signal if you trade demo? By the way, I am doing, if you go through forexsignals.com, I'm doing a 2 months free for my signal, but I'm not trading a demo. I know you can see that's a demo at the top. I'm gonna be changing that once these trades close out. And once the trades close out, then I can do that. I'm using a copy trader from the demo to the live account, and and I can't make the change until these trades close out. I don't want to have a copy error. So I don't know why it would matter anyways. I mean, sorry, I'm getting a little bit pissed off. Like people are always commenting on the demo account. Why is that such a big deal? I understand that people look at demo accounts differently, but I look at them as the same. I look at a demo account as being like I can act like it's real money. I trade it the same. I trade a demo account the same as I do a live account, and it shouldn't be any different for you guys. So that's why I don't understand why the big deal. So yes, I will be changing this over to trading directly on my live account of $9,697 after these trades close. Okay, yeah, I'll talk about the pound Japanese yen here in a second, and also the euro CAD. Okay, so I'm just reading all the questions. All right, so I'm going to cover the pound Japanese yen for the next couple minutes, and then I'll move on to the other pairs, and then I'll probably wrap up. Okay, so the pound Japanese yen downtrend. From what I can see, top. I'm just going to mark the levels. You can see that, yes, this made a higher low, but this made a lower high, and then this level was broken here, and then made a new low. And then this also made a lower high as well, compared to here and here, and also there. So this is in a downtrend. Downtrend moving. You can even do a little channel if you want. And I saw a Harami candle there. I took this trade, and it was positive. I even marked this on the thread that Nick started for me. So if you go down to the bottom, I posted a picture of the trade that I had. So this trader here on the pound Japanese yen was a profit, and I can also pull that up here. Okay, so this is the trade I took, and you can see where I entered. I entered on this Harami candle, new low, and the price popped, and I was looking for just 30 pips. That was hit. That was hit about 8 hours or so ago, and you can see from the price action that that movement was about 50 pips before it reversed and broke and made a new low. So that was a profitable trade that I took. Okay, so let's see next on the list for people. Okay, EuroCAD. Now I see just off the top of my head, you can probably tell it's an uptrend. I see Harami here, but it didn't break that high, so I wouldn't have taken that position. I do see a engulfing, bearish engulfing candle New high from the previous candle, closed below the open. Good entry for sell. Now the trade went against us for, I think it was like 30 or 40 pips. 38 pips, and then it went down hard. So that would have been a good trade with a bit of drawdown right after that. This I would have looked for 20 to 30 pips profit. Where it is now, if you're just looking at the technical analysis side of this, I'd be looking at a close of this candle. It's about 35 minutes left. If it closes above the high, the open of the previous candle, it could continue to go up. This is considered a bearish, engulfing candle, especially if it closes where it is now. It didn't make a new low, but it still is a pretty strong candle. And if it closes where it is now, I would expect maybe a push up to continue, especially considering that it's in this uptrend. Okay, next. You only take 30 to pips for every trade. No, it changes. It changes from 20 to 40 pips usually, and it changes. I will change the profit amount based on the pair and based on the movement that's happened and how far I expect the retracement to be. But pretty standard. It's anywhere from 20 to 30 pips. Sometimes 40, and I've even gone up to 50. Okay, so what was the last one that somebody wanted me to do? US dollar, Japanese yen. Okay, so I said before that I need this to weaken, and this is going down. The yen is continuing to hold its to continue its increase in value, while the Australian is having a pullback. So in turn, that's causing my trade to go into drawdown as well. The US dollar, Japanese yen, downtrend obviously, and it's been really heavy. New lows keep being made. This is on the 1 hour chart. Let me move to the 4. I don't see any trades to counter this pair for my strategy. If you're trend trading, probably too late. That level there was already broken. I used to trade levels on breaks as well. So if that level was broken, I would enter a trade here and then look for a further pushback down and take my profit at support resistance levels. That's one way I used to trend trade. How far will this go? I don't know. I guess I could do a guess, and my next guess would be 2 levels. That small little bump up or retracement on that pair is a light resistance line, and then a good support level there. So those are the 2 levels I'd be looking at if I'm taking a sell position on this pair. I'd be looking to see if this current candle, closes below this level, below this candle, and that includes on the 1 hour as well. Okay, so what's already happened is on the 1 hour, it's already technically closed below that level. So it could mean more down movement on that pair. If it closes below that level, even on the 4 hour, which is how much time is left? About an hour and a half left of the 4 hour candle. Then that could, it could potentially get pushed back down further. What is the time frame OP is looking at? Who's OP? If you're talking about my time frames, I use the 1 hour and 4 hour charts only. All right, guys, I'm going to check for YouTube one more time, and looks like no questions. I think I'm going to go ahead and end. And just holding out to see what happens on my trades. I'm in 3, so I'll show them again to you real quickly. We're on the US dollar Swiss franc. I entered here. We're getting a decent wick candle on the pair. I'm in on the odd Japanese yen, looking for 30 pips for a push up after entering on that Harami candle. I'm in on the Euro US dollar, entered on this Harami candle, entered on this one, entered on this support level, resistance level excuse me, entered on that resistance level, and had this Harami candle. Didn't take a trade. It was too close to my 3rd entry, so I didn't take this this candle. And my 4th entry is pending up here, just in case the market continues to go against me. On the other pairs, I have my 2nd entry down here on the odd Japanese yen, just in case it continues to go against me. And the US dollar Swiss franc is a lot lower at about 100 pips for my 2nd entry. Okay, I think that's going to be it for today. I hope that everybody has a good Tuesday, and I'll see you tomorrow. And I think tomorrow will be a fairly big day for me because I'm looking at this ADP, and depending on how negative and positive that is, it could have an effect if I close my trades out on the Euro US dollar or not. So I'm gonna have to wait and see, and then make a judgment call. So that's the Euro US dollar is the biggest thing that's holding my drawdown right now, and that's just under 3%. I think I'm at about 2.8% drawdown, which is still completely manageable, but I may close things out before things get too out of hand. All right, guys, I think that's going to be it for today, and I will see you tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. I think right before the news comes out. So it's right after the news is done. So you might see if I'm still in these trades or not, because I'll probably likely make a decision before that, before my stream tomorrow. So, anyways, thanks so much for watching. And